Hello everyone, this is Salar and you are learning JavaScript on Smart Code. This is our tutorial number 28 and the last tutorial on string data type. If you have been following my JavaScript series, then you know, including this one, I did 12 tutorials just on string data type. So I kept my promise. When we started talking about string data type, I said we would cover it from every angle. And we did it. And like I said, this would be the last tutorial, but not least on a string data type. And in this tutorial, you will learn how to work with template literals or template strings. Are you ready? So let's get straight into it. Now on the screen you see, I have defined three string variables. And these variables are exactly the same that we had in our first tutorial on the string. It is interesting, right? I did not plan it. It is just a coincidence that we started and now wrapping up the entire topic with the same variables. Now, what you already know, a string can be defined using single quotes, double quotes, and backticks. And a string value is called string literal, such as I am learning JS. So here we have a string literal in single quote, a string literal in double quotes, and a string literal in backticks. But the first string literal, which we have in single quote, is not a template literal, and the same applies to the double quotes. This is not a template literal, but the last string literal that we have in the backticks is also called template literals. Now the question is, why do it is called a template literal? And the answer is template literals support new line characters and white space characters. And because of this support, they are used to define template. For example, an HTML template. And I will show you a practical example. We will create a HTML template. Now, apart from defining templates, template literals have another very important feature, and it is called interpolation. Interpolation is a mechanism, and by using it, you can substitute variables in a string without dividing it into several parts. Today, in modern JavaScript programming, interpolation uses quite a lot, and it's a favorite choice of every web developer, and I also use it quite a lot. So the template literals have two main features. They define templates and support interpolation. So we will first see how do we define template, but we won't dig deeper into it because in order to use a template, we first need to learn HTML document object model, right? So we will only look how to create a template such as HTML template, but interpolation we will cover in detail, and we will continue practicing with interpolation in our future tutorials. Let's now first see how template literals support new line characters and white spaces. Let's say if I want to put a new line in our first string variable, the only option that I have is escape sequence \n. So let's put a line break in our first string variable. So we have divided our first string variable into two lines. You can confirm it in the cancel. Right, so a string is divided into two lines. And the same you will do here if you want to break this string variable into multiple lines. But template literals work differently. They can span over multiple lines, and you don't need to put \n character. You just need to hit enter where you want to break the string, just like this. When you hit enter, a new line character is automatically added. And now our template variable is divided into three lines. And the interesting thing is that, like I said earlier, they even support white spaces. So the white spaces that you see to the left in my editor is now added into the string. And these last two lines have leading white spaces. Let's now log this variable in the cancel and see the output. And here you see the evidence. Our template literal is divided into three lines, and last two lines have leading white spaces. Right, so this is how template literals behave, and you can control white spaces and indentation manually. For example, if you don't want white spaces, then you have to remove them manually. Now we have removed all the white spaces, and so you see in the output. Now, because of these features, support of new line characters and white spaces, you can use template literals to define templates. Let's say I want to add a div container into my HTML via JavaScript, and the container may have some other tags inside. So I will use template literals to define the template. Let's now see an example on that. Right, so here you see a template, a HTML template, and this can easily be inserted into the HTML. But like I said earlier, you need to know the term to do that. And you may have noticed one thing: when I started writing this template, I shifted the code to the extreme left, right? And this is because of the white spaces. Template literals will exactly matches the white spaces that you have inside the backticks, and these are the white spaces that we have inside the backticks. Now we can print it out in the console to see our newly created template. And so you see in the output a HTML template using template literals, right? So that was the first use of template literals. You can define templates. Now we will look into the second feature, interpolation. And interpolation or substitution is accomplished using this expression, a dollar sign and a pair of curly brackets. So let's now learn interpolation. Interpolation simply means you substitute variables in the string without dividing it into several parts. So what we have done in our previous tutorials, we substituted variables in the string with the help of concatenation. And substitution with the help of concatenation means string is automatically divided into several parts. So let's first write an example on the screen so that we can easily compare it with the interpolation. So I'm taking two variables which I'm gonna substitute in the string. Now I will do the substitution of these two variables with the help of concatenation. Now here you see the variable substitution in the string, value and exponents of variables. And this expression has 5 different parts separated by plus operator, right? Now the same result you can achieve using interpolation. And the expression that is used for substitution is a dollar sign followed by a pair of curly braces. So let's now perform interpolation. So this is how interpolation is performed inside the backticks. We can print out both in the console to see the output. And so you see no difference in the output, right? So you can use either this one or this one to substitute variables in the string. But interpolation is better and modern. You don't need to put an extra space between the variable and the string because template literals support white space. But in the concatenation, I needed to put a white space before and after to keep them separated. So interpolation is a better approach, but it doesn't mean substitution with the help of concatenation has become older or obsolete. Both of them are fine and you can use them without any problem. So in the last, I will show you how to invoke a function inside the interpolated expression. So let's code a function first and then we are going to call it in the interpolated expression. So this function is going to return a string in the uppercase. Let's now call this function in the interpolated expression. right? So here you see the function calling inside the expression, and that would be the string returned by the function. And you can get the same result using the concatenation technique. Let's see the example. So now we have reached to the end of the tutorial, and I hope now you better know template literals and how do we perform interpolation. I will see you in the next part, and thanks for watching.